The Enforcement Directorate's crackdown over the last 2 days has left the opposition parties quite miffed, and in one go, the Enforcement Directorate has managed to annoy and rile at least 4 different parties in INDI. Whether it is the JMM with Hemant Soren, Tejashwi Yadav and Lalu Prasad of the RJD, it was Sanjay Raut's brother from the Sena UBT, and yesterday it was Bhupinder Singh Hooda of the Congress. Today, though, it was Tejashwi Yadav's turn to be interrogated by the Enforcement Directorate. His father yesterday was questioned for almost 10 hours in the Land for Jobs scam. Also questioned yesterday was former Haryana Chief Minister Bhupinder Singh Hooda and Sanjay Raut's brother, who was questioned today. But the focus remained solely on Hemant Soren because he had simply disappeared. For 30 hours, the Enforcement Directorate, the Delhi police, had no idea where he was. Sources said that he remained untraceable, with the phone of the Chief Minister and his staff being unreachable. The agency today turned up with thick wads of cash, which they said were found in the searches they carried out at the Jharkhand Chief Minister's residence in Delhi. As per sources, it was a total of 36 lakhs. In addition to that, 2 luxury cars were also seized. Now, sources say that there is evidence, including documents, that the ED has also uncovered in Delhi, with which it wants to confront Hemant Soren. Tomorrow, he has agreed to already have a date with the Enforcement Directorate in his house in Ranchi. Even after this massive seizure, the JMM says that all that is happening is a conspiracy to target a tribal CM.
किसका है वो 36 लाख रुपए? क्या वो ईडी के द्वारा या बाबूलाल जी के द्वारा वो प्लांट नहीं किया गया?
एक चुनी हुई सरकार, एक चुने हुए मुख्यमंत्री को इस तरह प्रताड़ित करना आदिवासी होना गुनाह है क्या? सोमवार को मुख्यमंत्री महोदय ने संदेश भिजवाया कि मैं 31 तारीख को अवेलेबल हूं, आप आ जाएं, पूछताछ करें। खुद ईडी ने डेडलाइन दिया था 31 तारीख तक का, तब 29 तारीख को यह कार्रवाई क्यों? ये समझ से परे है। आखिर इतनी बेचैनी क्यों हो गई? वो एक मुख्यमंत्री हैं, लोकप्रिय मुख्यमंत्री हैं, कोई भगोड़ा नहीं, कोई तड़ीपार नहीं, तब इस तरह की बातें। ये झारखंड नहीं, झारखंड ही नहीं, झारखंडियों का भी अपमान है, तमाम आदिवासियों का अपमान है।
Now let's talk about the former Bihar Deputy Chief Minister Tejashwi Yadav. He was also questioned. Sources tell us that a 12-member team interrogated him and 30 questions were asked, largely on the company owned by him and the valuation. ED officials asked him details of how and when was your company formed. He was asked about how he got the idea of forming a company when he was a minor. The ED also asked how the company was valued in crores and transacting in crores within just a few years of its formation. And finally, how a luxurious house worth rupees 160 crores was bought for just a few lakhs in the name of his company. But as expected, the RJD also calls the interrogation a ploy which is timed for elections.
हम लोग घबराने वाले नहीं हैं, ना हमारे नेता घबराने वाले हैं और ना उनके समर्थक घबराने वाले हैं। हम लोग सम्मान का जवाब हमारे नेता कल भी दिया है और आज भी हमारे नेता देंगे। इसलिए पूछताछ कर रही है कि उसको लोगों को डराना है। कुछ होने वाला नहीं है, कहीं कुछ मिलेगा नहीं, डरा रही है।
So the questions are very specific. Instead of beating around the bush, the very simple question that should be asked is, there are details of the case against each of these people. Can those specifics be ignored? Let me start actually with Karuna Sagar. Shazi Almi continues with us along with Sameer Chaugankar. Karuna Sagar of the RJD joins us along with Dr. Hemlal Kumar Mehta of the JMM. Karuna Sagar, one of the questions that was asked to Tejashwi Yadav today, how is it that a luxurious house has been bought and that a company has been set up by Tejashwi Yadav when he was a minor? How does one explain this? Can you keep calling everything a witch hunt?
Thank you, Panja. We are living in sad times, so do bear with me for a couple of minutes so that I can give a background of the entire case. See, under the BJP government, all the enforcement and investigative agencies have become tools of political operation and coercion. Either you join us or you suffer. Even the fig leaf of neutrality has been blown away in this political hurricane. Now this case for Land for Job, this pertains to 2008 when Mr. Tejashwi Yadav was a minor. Railways it said that railway jobs were given for land parcels. Now, railways have never complained. They said, we don't have a case. And if a minister hands over a job, then obviously is the officers who will be processing the files, issuing the orders. No railway employee, no railway officer has been made an accused in this case. This case was closed by the CBI for lack of evidence in 2012. In 2016, it was opened after we formed an alliance with JDU and formed a government in 2015. And after that, it was again forgotten. Then in 2022, when we again formed a government with the JDU, the case was again reopened, and not one, but supplementary charge sheet were filed. So if you see the timeline, it basically shows that there is a consistent policy of witch hunt and there is no truth. And
but
the
sir,
same
you still
agency,
haven't answered the specifics. The specific question asked is, how did you buy a house worth several crores in a few lakhs? How? How does that happen?
This is a matter of investigation. Let
But they are
ED
investigating.
prove that there was.
When they are investigating,
ED
you're saying it's a witch hunt?
No, you see, it is a claim of the ED. ED is a enforcement agency. ED is going to take the case to a court of law.
Sir, how much do you think that a house in defense colony is going to cost? Chale, you are saying it's a matter of investigation, how much that house is for. We've all been to Delhi Defense Colony. How much do you think that a koti there costs? Do we need to investigate how much that koti is for?
You see how the koti was bought, from whom it was bought, for what money it was transacted. That is precisely what the ED has to investigate.
Exactly, and that is what they are investigating.
Yes, so let them investigate and file a charge sheet. Now, Shazia is nodding. Let Shazia tell me what is the percentage of cases charged by the ED so far.
Again, this is always brought up because you don't want to answer specifics. I asked you, how was this house bought? You said ED must investigate. Okay, very quickly, let Shazia Almi respond. Shazia Almi.
So out of all the cases which are against the senior politicians and political leaders, the conviction rate actually is 97%. But out of total cases, which includes many other cases and not just politicians, then it is 3%. And this has actually been answered in Parliament. Point number 2, you did not answer the question about why Tejashwi, who was a minor, managed to have this company and show such profits. But I want to tell you that there's a specific charge sheet which you're not aware of, and I wonder why, considering you're speaking for the party. Lalu Prasad Yadav, with the help of associates, identified land parcels and used in the railway ministry, got these people who actually gave these land parcels or pieces of land at throwaway prices, involved these people in the railway ministry, first used them as substitutes and then gave them permanent jobs. This was an indirect plan. And not just that, the details of these transactions are out there for everybody to see. When you look at the fodder scam, when was the case reported? I think 85. When was the final conviction happened? I think 2013. It took those many years, almost more than 30 years. So it takes that much time. And why did the investigation stop midway? I can ask you the same question. Why did UPA 2 shut down the investigation? For the same reasons that you accuse NDA of restarting the investigation. So it works both ways, my friend. But it is so... You know what I was thinking, Padmaja? Do you know, in our country, Bihar and Jharkhand are the poorest states. 42% of citizens of Jharkhand are poor. I'm talking about multi-dimensional poverty. When you look at Bihar, Bihar is the poorest state, Jharkhand being the second poorest. And look at these numbers we're talking about of these political leaders, of the former chief ministers, central railway ministers, deputy chief ministers, and yes, current chief ministers. You know, imagine thousands of crores. When you look at Soren, just what the charge sheet says is so shocking and
Okay,
sad
we'll just
for
come
me.
to Hemant Soren in a
And
bit.
then
But
they
Mr.
have a
Karuna
problem
Sagar, let me
with
quote to you what
actually-
a Delhi court said while taking cognizance of the ED prosecution complaint in the Land for Job scam. The court said, having considered the record, the court finds that contents of the complaint and accompanying documents disclose potent allegations of money laundering, whereby 7 land parcels were acquired by the 7 accused persons as part of a concerted activity to generate proceeds of crime, having a nexus with the scheduled offences under the Prevention of Corruption Act. This is what a court is saying. Karuna
Well,
Sagar.
Padmaja, that is what the charge sheet says.
No,
Charge
this is what a
sheet
court has said while taking cognizance of the charge sheet.
Court will take cognizance of the charge sheet filed by the agency. And after that, the trial starts.
Yes.
I'll give you an example of
Yes.
2G scam, where 1,76,000 crore worth of a scam was accused. And A. Raja and
Sir,
Kadimudi
let's
is
talk about the present. I am quoting to you what the court said. The court said the complaint prima facie discloses the deriving or obtaining of multiple immovable properties, both at undervalued rates and through masked mechanisms of shell companies in lieu of government employment provided to sellers or relatives of vendors of these land parcels. You talk about a witch hunt.
Padmaja, if you know anything about the court procedure, the court will take cognizance of the charge sheet of the agency.
Correct.
And
But the
whatever-
court says prima facie we find potent
And
proof.
Court is repeating what the charge sheet says.
No.
But there is going to be a trial.
No.
And the trial.
The court
and
is saying that the
No.
court finds the contents of the complaint accompanied documents disclose potent allegations. They are not saying the ED finds. They are saying we have seen the charge sheet. We find that there are potent charges. Anyhow, let me also bring in the JMM. Now, again, with the case of the JMM, let's just put on air what exactly the charges are. Because when we go in a roundabout way, looking at, generic allegations, Mr. Hemlal Mehta, here a complaint was filed. कंप्लेंट पे ये कहा गया था कि भाई आर्मी की जमीन थी, मिलिट्री लैंड था, जिसको सस्ते दामों पे बेच दिया गया. Now, eventually, when a government officer files a complaint, what do you expect investigating agencies to do? And Mr. Hemant Soren wasn't the first one to be questioned. He was questioned after a year. उसके पहले और लोग अरेस्ट हुए, एक IAS ऑफिसर अरेस्ट हुआ, अब हेमंत जी की बारी आ रही है. मिस्टर मेहता.
हाँ जी,
अगर कंप्लेंट की गई है, सरकारी मुलाजिम ने
ये
कंप्लेंट
सवाल फिर
की
से
है,
दोहराएं।
सरकारी मुलाजिम ने कंप्लेंट की है, एफआईआर हुआ है, उसके ऊपर इन्वेस्टिगेशन हुआ है. इसके पहले एक आईएएस अफसर की अरेस्टिंग हुई है, और लोगों की अरेस्टिंग हुई है, 5 लोग पहले अरेस्ट किए गए, अब जाके हेमंत जी की क्वेश्चनिंग हुई है. इसमें प्रोसेस है ना, विच हंट कैसे है?
देखिए, सवाल जहां पर इन्वेस्टिगेटिंग का है, तो जिस लैंड का ईडी ने कहा है कि आपका जो बरियातू में जमीन है, उस पर आपको सवाल किया जाएगा, उस पर सवाल भी किया गया. 7.5 घंटे पूछताछ 20 जनवरी को मुख्यमंत्री आवास में किया जाता है. उसी पर सवाल दागा जाता है. अब कितना सवाल किया और कौन सा छूट गया कि फिर से सवाल करना पड़ा, फिर से सवाल करना चाहा इन्होंने, ये समझ से परे है. जो भी सवाल करनी थी, तो 20 तारीख को ही जब बुलाया गया था ईडी को पूरा जवाब देने के लिए, सुनाने के लिए, सुनने के लिए, जवाब सवाल करने के लिए, तो उसी दिन कर लिया जाना चाहिए था.
अच्छा,
8 घंटे तक पूछताछ करने के बाद भी वही सवाल है पूरे झारखंडियों का कि कौन सा सवाल रह गया था कि बार बार फिर समन भेज रही है ईडी.
मे बी ये सवाल रह गया था
यही
कि ये
क्वेश्चन कर
36
रही
लाख
है
रुपए
तमाम
किधर से आए.
झारखंडी.
वो 36 लाख जो कल मिले हैं, वो पूछेंगे ना कहां से मिले 36 लाख सर?
36 लाख कल मिला है, तो 36 लाख किसने लेकर के गया था? मेरे ख्याल से वहां तो जो गए होंगे वो लेकर के गए होंगे,
जो घर में गए वो लेके।
मैं यहाँ पे हूं, मेरे घर पे, मेरे घर से नहीं निकला पैसा, मेरे घर से नहीं निकला, तो किसने गाड़ी में रखी और दिखा दिया कि 36 लाख मिल गए हैं? सवाल तो यहाँ हमारा है कि वो पैसा किसके हैं, कहां से आए वो पैसे?
बिल्कुल आपका जायज सवाल है और ये सवाल पूछा जाना चाहिए, पर सवाल उन्हीं से पूछेंगे जिनके घर से मिला है। Anyhow, I'm out of time. Apologies, Sameerji, for not being able to come to you. But this is a fast developing story because there is speculation that tomorrow there could be action. Hemant Soren is going to appear in front of the Enforcement Directorate. Today, Tejashwi Yadav was quizzed for almost 8 hours. He has just left the ED office. Will there be action next? We'll keep a close eye. Thanks, gentlemen, and Shazia Elmi for having joined.